Welcome back, viewers at home. You're still tuned in right here on INX Prime Channel 345. We're about to have quite an exciting conversation because, after all, wearing a suit, it brings about a different kind of energy where you're boosting of a lot of energy, confidence, as well as, you know, the ability to feel that self-esteem to want to conquer the world. But joining me for this conversation, I am joined by Muhammad Hoosain, who is an innovative founder of The Consultant, a luxury suit brand that's not just about style and quality, but also about ambition, passion, and most importantly, entrepreneurship. And I think I'm looking forward to understanding his journey, which exemplifies how one can turn, you know, something that they love into something fruitful that really brings about employment and opportunity, as well as getting other people feeling very confident and very much self-esteemed in that sense. But assalamu alaikum, Muhammad. Jazakallah so much for joining us tonight.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Now, seeing that you first started off as a management consultant to now having your own, you know, business, and you're doing a whole lot of positive work, and I believe through my questions we'll get through it. I want to just start off by just getting to share with the viewers at home in terms of what are some of the factors that really influence your decision to really shift from your consulting career to now becoming a luxury suit maker. And most importantly, how did you determine that there was an unmet need that you had to now come in and fulfill?
Thank you. Good question. I think the intention from the start, before, I think while studying actually at university, was always to start my own business and run my own business. But at the same time, I wanted to go out into the corporate world, gain some experience. And consulting has led to that. It brought a lot of opportunity. Every project is a new challenge. You're working in a different industry. And I've learned a lot. And it allowed me to think strategically, but what it didn't give me was creative thinking, and that's a gap that this business, this menswear business, The Consultant, allowed me to fill. And I started in 2019. I think towards the end of 2019, how I identified a gap was the market. What I found was I used to wear a suit to work. I was a consultant, meeting different people, my colleagues. Every time I'd wear a suit, I'd get a positive response from colleagues, from clients, you know, lovely suit, nice design. And I thought, then I started looking into the market, and I found that it was very difficult to get a modern, stylish suit at an accessible price point. So I started doing some research. Anyway, it led me to Turkey. I booked a flight. I was discussing with the manufacturers from here, selected my designs, met them in person, used Google Translate because half the guys can't speak English there, and brought in a few designs, and I came down, met with different people, showed off my designs, and that was the start of the journey.
Wow, this is quite a very insightful journey, because it comes to show that it's not something that, you know, you just woke up and started sewing things, but it shows that you really put in the work to ensuring that people who wear your brand, or people who actually get to wear these suits, they wear quality and they wear something that really will help them look also quite respectable in that sense. But now coming forward to understanding your brand, you've mentioned that you do actually use your brand as a way of, you know, empowering people to be confident as well as entrepreneurial, most importantly. Can you expand on this vision and share some ways your brand is actually making a difference?
Absolutely. As you mentioned when you started this, you mentioned that when a guy wears a well-fitted suit and he enters a room, I mean, he feels different, he owns the room. And I believe you dress well, you feel well, you feel better, you perform better. So I think that's it's not just, you know, providing someone with clothing or suits. It's more than that. It's the impact that that suit makes, whether they're wearing that to a corporate meeting, or as a groom for a wedding day, or for the graduation. It's big events. So that's where the confidence element comes in. The entrepreneurial element, for example, some of the initiatives during COVID-19. So I try to use our business, the clients, as a platform. So I repositioned my online store to I called it the Campaign Support Small Business SA.co.za, where small businesses at that time, there was no cash flow. Businesses were closed. So what I did was I allowed a small business like a barber shop to sell, on our platform sell a gift certificate where they get the cash injection immediately, and the customer can use it within 2 years when everything settles back.
Wow.
So that's one of the initiatives we take for, as a platform. And I mean, we're still working on that. There's many initiatives, because I find that a lot of my clients are very successful, whether it's politicians, businessmen, corporate executives. So I have this panel of this wealth of knowledge, and I also have the grads that come to me for a graduation suit. So if I connect the two dots, I have a powerful platform that I'm working on where I can get people in the room and share knowledge and advice.
Muhammad, you're really sharing a different perspective that I think a lot of females had it wrong, because we're like, whenever we have great moments as females, we put in the, the effort in terms of what we're wearing, and we're like, guys, it's so simple. They just grab a t-shirt and it's all sorted. And I think now you really broke that misconception to say, actually, when guys now have to pick out a suit, there's a lot of consideration that actually goes into thought in that sense. But thank you so much for really enlightening us on that. But now coming forward to tailoring those suits. I know with dresses it's intense because the stitch, sequence, everything is considered. With suits, what process goes into mind, into manufacturing, that ensures that your suit is actually tailor-made for different kinds of body types? And what would you say are some of the challenges that you have encountered, and how you've managed to sort of navigate that in ensuring that whoever walks out from your shop or your store, they're quite happy and they feel like this is something that was made for me?
Thanks. So we offer two different types of services. One is the ready-to-wear service, and one is a bespoke service. And there's a market for both. With ready-to-wear, we found that the African consumer, the African customer, has a very different build to the Europeans. So the standard template for our suits is tailored already as a ready-to-wear to the African body type. But there are some body types where some of the guys are taller than the average guy, who has longest arm length, for example, and that's when we suggest a bespoke suit. So ready-to-wear suits, what we do is we also take you through a fitting process and alterations to get that looking like a bespoke suit. And of course, the bespoke suits, there's over, I think, 20 measurements that we do. It's a beautiful experience. Clients enjoy it because it's like merging craft and theater together, where that you take them through that crafting process, and at the end they with you designing the elements of the suit, and they get a suit. At the end they get this product. So that's, we cater to both markets in that sense.
Quite interesting. And I think one thing for sure with when we're dealing with anything around customers, I mean, they have evolved, considering also technology and how even their preference is quite global in that sense. How do you then, leverage this, your brand? Because, I mean, brand image and branding is quite a competitive world, because people are not buying the actual suit. People are buying experience. People are buying quality. People are buying even like, the perception of, the brand itself. How do you then go about cultivating that and ensuring that your brand is always strong, it's always, pushing through the barriers that exist in that sense?
Sure. With branding, branding is a feeling that you get when you engage with a brand. Now, you get online brands, solely online, as well as brands that have a retail store. Retail store is much easier, but it's every touch point from the time that you see that ad on social media, if it's online store, the message that it gives you when you open that link, the experience that you get from that, when you engage with customer service from an online perspective, and from an offline perspective, from a retail store, when you walk into the store, the ambience that you feel, the scent of the store, the design of the store, how we communicate with our clients, that's all part of branding. And one thing to add about branding is I like to look at it as the foundation of a brand is actually trust.
Oh, yes.
So think of a brand as your bank balance. Every time a customer, you get positive response or positive feedback from a client, it's a deposit into your brand account. And every time you get a negative review, negative feedback, something's wrong, that's a withdrawal from that bank balance. So if you think about it like that, every single customer, bank balance, and how you're faring in terms of that. And ultimately, our aim, I think the core of our business is a highly personal service with expert advice. That's what it comes to, and that's what helps us shape our brand. Everything, whether it's a social media content, a video, or any type of engagement with the customer, everything starts with intention. What is the actual intention of putting this content out there? So yeah, it comes down to, I think you've got to have a core foundation of your brand and build on that with intention.
I guess viewers at home, you have the consultant, no more drowning in your suit, or no more wearing a suit so tight that you can't even, you know, move around, especially for some of the guys who actually go to the gym and now they're just stuck in, don't even know what to do in that sense. But yeah, viewers at home, make sure you do reach out to Muhammad to find out, you know, how he can make sure you're leaving that spot feeling quite confident, quite respectable. Now, Muhammad, just to close down our conversation, or rather conclude our conversation, is for viewers at home who are probably watching right now and they're just like, you know, nodding to whatever you're saying and jotting down some of the tips that you've shared, how would you, or what advice would you now share in terms of individuals who are in this space in particular of, you know, providing suits or just providing tailor-made, be it wear or service in that sense, on how they can thrive in that aspect, and as well as what other steps they can take or consider in ensuring that they remain in that spirit of being innovative, as well as not just creating brands that are just about profiting, but also being impactful in that sense?
What I'd like to say and share with the audience is, especially for those who are starting a business, whether it's in the fashion industry or any business for that matter, start small but start and be consistent. When you start small, get your business model working right, the model right, your profitability right, and then listen to your customer, engage with your customer, understand what your customer wants. For example, we moved to the Leonardo Hotel in was August last year. At that time, our main product was still suits and shirts, you know, the full formal kind of menswear. And for the first 3 months, I just studied the user base, because a lot of our traffic comes from hotel residents, visitors. I studied, you know, what they're all about, and I realized that these successful men, some of them don't want to necessarily wear the suit anymore, but they want elevated elegance. So what I found was, and that made me go into luxury leisure wear. So we still provide you with that elevated elegance. It doesn't have to be a suit. Whatever we provide, it's something that stands out. So coming back to what I'm trying to share with the audience is, your business, be agile and be willing to pivot. If something works, keep it, experiment, try something else, build on that, until you get a core product portfolio.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Muhammad, you know, for coming in and really sharing how you have turned something that you love and passionate about into something that not only is a business, but is a means of impacting others. I mean, sharing your story in terms of COVID-19 has struck us. A lot of people were closing down, but you were like, you know what? Nobody has to close down shop. Nobody has to, you know, starve in that sense of not having a source of income. But thank you so much, you know, for taking out the time and really joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity.
Viewers at home, that was Muhammad Hoosain, the visionary, the founder of The Consultant. Viewers at home, make sure you do check them out, and make sure you get your a suit that makes you, or rather leaves you, feeling very confident, very, you know, respected, and also comfortable in that sense. But viewers at home, that's where we close it off for now. Just see you after this ad break.